Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and today I'm bringing you some of Spellbinders' core collection releases in May 2024. Here I have the layered Iris and Anemone set. I've also got the stitch, edge, circle background, a little Hello Sentiment stamp and die set, and some dimensional stickers of butterflies. I've got 3 sets here. There are more, but I've only got 3 here. The Moonlight, Sunset and Twilight butterflies. I'll show you how I use all of this in a dozen different cards. Here I have got the layered anemone set. I die cut all of the pieces of this die set in white card and then I'm putting them onto my gel printing plate because it holds it there while I do some ink blending with my small blending brush as well as some blending brushes just to create some texture, some color variation to that die cuts. This is where all of the ink pads or ink sets that I have come in really handy. And I like using the Horton set because their sets come in 4 color gradations and it's great for putting highlights and shadow in a particular die cut. I start off by using the Enchanted Garden set, which is purple for the iris, and then I'm using the Pocketful of Sunshine, which is a couple of yellows here to get the centers and highlights of the iris. I like doing the coloring of the die cuts either using ink like this or using colored card. But the way if you use ink, you just need to invest in some inks and you can die cut everything in white and you can color it whatever color you want. And I'm using the Tropical Forest set for the foliage. And I'm adding some light colors as well as shadow. And I like doing these kind of die cuts because it's quite versatile what colors you want, and I always like to Google and see what colors these flowers are, and irises tend to be purple, so I've got them in purple. I found this putting my die cuts onto the gel printing plate really handy. I learned this trick from BB Cameron. I saw a few videos of hers doing this and I thought this is really handy. And if you don't have a gel printing set, you can even use any sticky mat that you have, and there are various sticky mats in the markets. You can use that. Here I show you how I assemble the iris. It's pretty straightforward. There's not many elements to it, and I use my liquid glue. It's the Art Glitter liquid glue that I use, and I've been using it for years, and I just find it really handy with its really fine point. And I just use the Gem Picker tool from Spellbinders, I think the Crystal Katana one, and I just find that really handy for all the tiny die cut pieces and just assemble it together. You can do it the way I show you, or you can create some different ways. And I look at the buds here. I had a couple of variations here, whether it's going to be purple or yellow, and I decided to go with purple because I thought the yellow would contrast or clash with the center of the iris, of the main iris flower. I really hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. I do loads of Spellbinders videos, their club kits as well as their core collection every month, and you can find them all in my YouTube channel, Angela Brennan Creations. So if you do subscribe, whenever I upload a new video, you will be alerted if you press the notification bell. All the products I use are listed in the description below, so it's easy for you to reference what they are. Once I get these assembly of these flowers, it's easy to make the cards. And here I have got the layered anemone set, and I do the same thing. I put it onto the gel printing plate and I start using the different colors that I want. Now I googled the anemone flowers. They've got pinks, reds, purples, white, light pink. So I just decided to go with a pinky red as well as purple, and I do quite a few of this and I create a couple of cards. I use the different color variations here to create some light and dark gradations. One set of the petals I use the lighter colors, and one set I use the darker colors, and the center I use the darker of the 4 colors to create a little bit of shadow. I think it's important for these flowers, rather than to have all the same color, to have a bit of shadow and light so there's some dimension, and and it looks a little bit more natural. And tend to do this when I do die cuts, and I think it's easier to achieve this with white die cuts than with colored card. But you can also do some ink blending if you've got a colored card, as long as the color card is not too dark, so you can achieve some gradation of colors, some variation of colors, to give the die cut, when you assemble it, a little bit more of a natural look. This die set of stitched edge circle backgrounds has got 4 dies, and you can combine it in a few different ways to either die cut the entire circle or just have the pattern of either the zigzag or the squares without die cutting the frame. So there's various different ways that you can put these dies together to achieve different looks. Here I've put the die cut, and I've got a frame as well as the squared bits, but I don't want to remove the squared bits, so I'm putting some cello tape so the little die cuts of the little square within the circle does not come off or does not fall off, because I want to keep that in there and do some coloring later on. The zigzag here, I don't die cut the frame, I leave the zigzag in it because I didn't put the separate die cut. I use some Copic colors markers to color the little squares here, and I'm not very careful about it because I'm not going to be showing this bit. I'm going to die cut another circle with the squares in it, but remove the little die cuts and adhere it onto it, so you can't see the little messy bits. So don't have to be too careful when I color each of the squares within the circle. When I die cut the circle with the squares here, I'm putting the circle die here, because I want the die to be cut out specifically so I can overlay it onto the colored bit. So here I'm going to remove all the little square die cuts within the circle, so it will just leave behind the frame which I can adhere onto the colored bit. And there you go, it looks really, really neat now without any of the mess of the coloring that was there. And this is the aim here, and I use my liquid glue to put some glue onto it and then adhere it onto the circle that's been colored. And there you go, that's the background, that's a circle background for a couple of anemone flowers. For the sentiment, I used a little Hello Sentiment die set and stamp that comes with it. And the good thing about this is you can achieve quite a few sentiments with just one stamping, and it's got a die that cuts all the sentiments at the same time. So I create a couple, one with a white card background, one black card. I don't show you both because it's pretty much the same thing. So you just can stamp all of the sentiments at the same time, die cut it, and then you've got a set of sentiments available for your card making. And I like doing this whether it's a better press or hot foil or even stamping, because it's always handy to have sentiments. And when it's a new stamp, I always use the eraser, the stamp conditioning eraser, so it will keep the ink onto the stamp. So when you stamp it, it will transfer the ink well onto the card and achieve a crisp image. And whenever it's a black stamping, I like to put clear embossing powder on it, so it gives it a nice polished finish. And I use my dual speed heat tool on the second setting to melt the embossing powder on the stamped sentiments. Versaclear inks are pigment inks, so it will be staying wet for a little while, and it'll allow you to put embossing powder and do some embossing on it and get that nice shine, which is a nice finish to your sentiments. And then I use the coordinating die and die cut all of the sentiments at the same time. I do the same thing with the hello. The hello comes with the hello, it comes with a shadow, and it will come with another shadow, so you've got two shadows here if you want to do it. I use only one, and I do one white on black and one black on white, just to have a couple of options to see which one goes with the card composition best. And I always like to layer up my die cuts. You just use liquid glue, so you give it some time for you to layer them up. Start with the middle, keep moving them until you get them all aligned well. I usually have 3 layers, so it gives it a little bit of dimension and it just makes it pop on the card a little bit better. I do change up the sub-sentiment because hello a little doesn't quite make sense. It should have been a little hello, but I do change it later on when you see the cards towards the end when I show you the completed cards. Here with the zigzags within the circle, I do the same thing. I use my Copic markers to do some coloring. I use the same colors just to create a bit of a background, and then I will die cut. As you can see on the right, I've already die cut the circle with the zigzags. I remove the zigzag die cut and then I layer it on top, so you don't see the messy coloring. You don't have to be really careful when you use this coloring. This is a nice trick to have. It doesn't have to be just for this die cut. You can use it for other die cuts as well, and then layer it with a die cut by removing all the little bits inside, so you can have a nice die cut with the coloring without being too careful about it. I think it's a nice little trick that you can use for various other die cuts that you do. I never miss an opportunity to create shaker cards, so I do create a shaker card with this circle, and that's why I've got a separate frame. I colored the frame with the same Copic markers, and I use a little bit gradation of the colors and do some ink blending or some Copic blending there. I die cut with another circle die, which is not part of this set, a separate circle die that I have from Spellbinders circle, concentric circle dies. I die cut an acetate and I attach it to the frame and put some foam strips. The trick about these foam strips is you remove both the backing, so it's more pliable to put it around the circle. If you don't remove the second backing, then it becomes a little bit stiff and it's hard to maneuver it around the circle. You want a tight circle. You want the foam strip to be tight around the circle so it can hold all of the shaker elements without spilling it. And that's what I do here. It's pretty straightforward as a shaker card goes. Sometimes you can create this, what I call shaker bits. Keep it separately if you want to make quick cards, because this shaker circle, you can create it and keep it separately. For the shaker bits, I use the Catherine Pooler Portsmouth sequin mix. It just puts similar colored sequin mix into the middle, and cover it with the frame that's got the foam strip. So it's got some space to accommodate the shaker elements. Pretty straightforward as shaker cards go. I decide to add one of the Twilight Butterflies dimensional stickers. When I remove it here though, I don't remove it properly. I just remove the top bit. I don't remove the sticker at the bottom. It's not quite the way to do it, but you'll see me do it properly in subsequent cards later in the video. But I like the addition of the little butterfly, dimensional butterfly to the card. I just think it looks a little bit natural. Here I use a concentric die set, the Etched gems, and I've got this Paper Boutique set, and it's got a nice coordinating colors, 12 colors here, and I decide to die cut all of it to create a little bit of a gradation. I end up getting 2 cards out of this. You'll see this Etched gem set, I use the bits that I die cut as well as the shell, as I call it, the one with the various hexagons, sized hexagons, and I create 2 different cards. And I think it's quite a little bit of work, but I like the outcome. I like how it turned out. It's quite pretty, and the trick is choosing colors that coordinate. And if you don't know what coordinates, it's best to get a nice set. If you get a set or a paper pad or a colored card set that coordinates, it makes the job so much easier. And then I just adhere them all together. Really easy to do, and I think it creates a card that is different and gives it a bit of a wow factor. Just requires a little bit of patience. love how these colors turned out so beautifully, and because it's such a colorful background, I decided to use die cuts that are just plain white. I didn't want to detract from the background that's so many colors there. I wanted to focus on that gradation of colors. And I think it's a great mix of colors. You've got pinks, blues, and purples that go so well together. And I created a couple of cards, and I used the sentiments from the A Little Hello sentiment set to kind of coordinate all of the colors together. The next few cards show I use strips of coordinating colors to create backgrounds or a backdrop for the dimensional sticker butterflies. I just got carried away with these strips and I started looking at all my coordinating colored pads or colored combinations and decided to use some coordinated colors to create the backdrop for these dimensional stickers. Pretty similar concept for all the cards, but I just wanted to use the colors as the guide to the cards. And I just think it turned out really well. I'd really like to see what you think of them. Do leave me a comment and let me know what you think of the cards that I created with just simple card strips, color coordinated card strips for a backdrop for these dimensional stickers. I just wanted to keep them simple, but I'd really like to hear what you think about it. And it'd be great to get some feedback. I received some questions on how I adhere card panels onto card base. I tend to use my double-sided tape for it rather than liquid glue. Everyone's got their own way, but that's what I tend to do, and it kind of works for me. I removed the dimensional stickers here. You will see how I removed the back of it as well. That's how I meant to remove it, so it's nice. It's got a nice background to it as well. And the good thing about these dimensional stickers is, though it's got dimension, when you put it in the post, it can go flat. So it's kind of cool in a sense. You don't have to incur extra postage to post it. This sentiment, sending a fluttering hello, is from the February Better Press of the Month club kit. I just thought it really suited the butterfly, so I did quite a few of it, and I even did it with hot foiling. I like to hot foil my Better Press plates, so it gives it another dimension, or you get more out of your products. So I do some hot foiling of that same sentiment with some of these cards. I do quite a few of these butterfly cards. I don't show how I better press the sentiment or even hot foil the better press plate of the sentiment in this video, if not it'll be too long. I will have a video at the end that you can see how I do letter pressing of better press plates as well as hot foiling of better press plates. Here I'm doing a rainbow strips, and I use adhesive sheet rather than doing it separately with what I did previously with the double-sided tape. So I use an adhesive sheet because I'm going to cover an entire background of these strips of rainbow colors. This is going to be, the reason I did rainbow colors is because I'm going to use it for the moonlight butterflies, which are pretty much black and white, and I thought it would be nice to have a colorful backdrop for the black and white butterflies. I did get a bit carried away and create quite a few cards for the background to add the dimensional stickers. It's so easy to do and it looks so pretty and it's really quick. The stickers really add some really nice element to the card and it just gives it that extra pop. Here are all the completed cards. Quite a few completed cards here. I think I ended up making a dozen cards and I do end up loving all of them because the color combinations to me are quite key in all of these cards. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. All of the products used are listed in the description below, so do check it out. And I do lots of Spellbinders videos, be it their club kits or their core collection, which is released throughout the month. So do check it out. Happy crafting, and I'll catch you at next video. Do take care.